Hello, everyone, and welcome back to TorqueTalks. I am Dylan James, and with me today is Mr. Rudy Meadows, and we are going to be starting a new series under the TorqueTalks podcast called StoryTime. And to kick off the first episode, I'm going to make Rudy tell the story of the Midwest Gathering 2010, also known as MG0Jail.
MG0Jail. Oh, I hate this story. Where to start? Mumra. Was it just us that drove out there? It was. So Chris Hubbard and I were gonna go out to Indiana for the MG010 gathering, and we're somewhere in Kentucky, I think.
And what does MG stand for?
Midwest Gathering, I think. Dude, it's been so long. It's been so long. But we're headed out there, making fairly decent times. Should take us like 9 hours. And we're in Kentucky or something, and I see this hawk fly like over the trees on the side of the road, because Kentucky's just like trees and hills and stuff like that. And over the trees, and it swoops a rabbit, and I see it swoop the rabbit. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like, you don't really see that every day. Then it struggles to pick the rabbit up because the rabbit was heavier than it thought, so it flies in front of the car. And I'm like, okay, this is also something you don't see every day. And there's a loud thump from the front of the car. And we see like the feathers fly up over the windshield, and we're like, fuck. So I told him to pull over because I was like, we can check to see if it's fine or whatever. And it's stunned on the side of the road, and I like started to walk over to like pick it up because I'm that kind of person. And then I saw its talons on his feet, and I was like, I'm not picking that thing up. It'll fuck my day up. Like, it's going to ruin my day. We're going to have to turn around, go to a hospital I don't want to go to, and just like, no. All right, so I found a stick and like kind of prod it with the stick, seeing if it'll like snap to, or seeing if it's alive. And I get like some sort of response, and I was like, I'm still not picking it up because there's like 3-inch knives on his feet. I'm not. No. There's 6 of them, 8 of them, 3 in the front and 1 in the back. I'm not doing that. So we kind of just leave this hawk on the side of the road and hoping, and just like, all right, well, it's an omen. And Mumra was like, yeah, no, dude, that's an omen. That's a sign. Like maybe I was like, we'll be fine, just go. It wasn't fine.
Definitely a hawk, right? Not
an eagle. No, I'm 90% sure it wasn't an eagle, but it was. Fuck, that was 20 years ago. 10 years ago, not 20 years ago.
Calm yourself. You ain't that old.
No, not quite. But we end up getting there, and there's like 20, 30 trickers staying at Towels' parents' house / barn. There's like an indoor trampoline in the barn, and like almost a dead floor where it's like enough layers of carpet or foam. I don't even know what it was, but it was trickable in the barn. And grass sessions, there's this huge pea field because it's Indiana and it's a wasteland of farmland.
I recently heard something about when they built the floor at Intel's barn, they didn't have proper tools to do it. And so they all they had was a hammer for like the whole thing. And they didn't have a saw, but they needed to make the boards smaller to fit. So they used the hammer to break the boards.
Okay, no,
and is that true? Do you know
that
any?
Sounds like the Texas house floor. Because from what I've heard, the floor in Texas...
I forget who was telling me, but I want to say they said it was Pitlock who told them, and I don't... that's what I'm saying.
Is that would make sense for the time frame.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. It's been so long. I want to say it wasn't a spring floor.
Okay, if anybody out there knows and can confirm whether or not a hammer was the only tool that was used
To cut wood.
that was a rumor that was recently relayed to me. Anyways, continue the story. So you pull up to Towel's parents'
place,
house, but it's
they're
a
out of
barn.
town. Well, no, there's a house, but there's a huge barn next to it because it's like farmland in Indiana.
So how many like acres is this plot? Like, is it like a big?
I don't know. I'm not good at acres.
Okay, like describe it to me. How big is it?
There's a fair amount of grass.
How many bread boxes?
At least 10. At least 10 bread boxes. More than 100 bananas too. Like, no, there's a fair amount of grass between the houses and between the house and the barn, and there's like some grass over to the. If I'm looking like up the driveway, there's some grass over to the left of the barn, and there's like a field behind the house, which is where we grass session.
This field, is it a soccer field? Is it a football field?
I would say closer to a smaller soccer field.
Okay.
Like, yeah, but then there's like 2 or 3 football fields worth of pea crops. Like almost like a mile.
Okay.
Maybe half a mile. I don't know. If it was a mile, it's the fastest mile I've ever run.
Okay, so I'm picturing like Children of the Corn.
Kinda.
Okay.
But not tall, like you can't see like it.
Yeah, no. But just like that setting for this is where this weekend is about to go down.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a forest off in the distance. But so we end up we're grass sessioning and tricking. Everyone's having a good time and like no issues. Everyone's chilling, vibing. The first night, I think we got several of those giant jugs of wine, like the real cheap, like
Barefoot.
no, like the
like cheaper than
no, like the 2-gallon jugs of wine, like Rossi or whatever it is. Jim Rossi. I don't know. You go into a liquor store, go down the cheap aisle, and then on the
look
bottom,
on the floor.
Look on the bottom shelf, and there's
no, on the floor.
That's fine. I need to know. Anyways, we got I think a couple of those, and somebody got some tequila or something. So I'm like sipping wine and just chilling, having a good time. Like we're tricking inside the barn, and to the point where people are clearly drunk. But Pitlock did like full double leg twist. I did full double leg twist at one point. I did cork swing double cork. I did double full round. John Vanek and Pitlock did double B twist.
Now, mind you, this is 2010.
Yeah, those are real hard then.
that was what would that be compared to today at like the like Shosei? Just like the things that he's doing.
That would be like the risk factor is not the same, but that would be like doing shuriken cutters when you're super drunk. The risk factor is much higher for shuriken cutters because it's a one-leg landing, but it's the same technicality, I guess. I'm trying to think of like dub-dubs. Those when drunk would probably be roughly the same of equivalents of dub-dubs because people can piss double full variations and sing dubs.
Yeah, but there was like 25 people who could do those moves back when they were doing this.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, yeah. I give up. I'm not gonna find it. And it's like where I was not trash drunk, but drunk to the point where do a cork, you miss like a fraction of the middle part of the cork. You swing for the double cork, you kind of black out because your brain can't keep up with what's going on, and then you like open up for the landing and you hope you did it right. Like it's one of those like your brain is struggling a little bit to keep up with the things that your body thinks it can do. But so everyone's like killing this session. And I remember at one point, Towels walks up to me, hands me a cup, and was like, "Try this." And I was like, "I don't like doing that. I don't like that game." Like, just try it. And I was like, all right. So I take a sip of it, and I was like, it's not bad. It's like, have fun, and walked away. And I was like, well, I swear to God, I'm gonna cut somebody if the world starts to melt in like 20 minutes. Like, I'm gonna find somebody and cut somebody. But no, I like it. I was able to distinguish the flavors enough. It was like the sweet wine or whatever, and then a little bit of salt in it. And I was like, that's wine and tequila, isn't it? Just straight up mixed wine and tequila. And I found towels and I was like, what is that? And he's like, wine and tequila. And I was like, make me one. Because it was like,
more please.
it was one of those salty, sweet fucking like chocolate covered pretzels. Like, there's no way I'd be able to find the combination or be able to make it again without it being like, huh. But it was one of those things. Like, in the moment, I was like, that's not half bad. Like, obviously there are better things out there. Don't come at me for saying this, but like,
but I could get behind this.
I think I'm intrigued. But the next morning, if anyone's ever drank too much wine and woken up with a hangover, it's not fun. If anyone's ever drank too much tequila and woken up with a hangover, it's not fun.
Wineovers are different than just a hangover.
It's a different kind of nail in your head.
Same with tequila.
Also a different kind of nail in your head. I had both of them. Both nails in my head. My head was pounding the next morning.
Frankenstein over there. Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. John Vanna got me to drink some mint extract. I don't recommend anyone doing that. It's terrible.
Because it has alcohol content?
No. Just he did it.
Because I don't think it does.
I think it does, but that wasn't the reason why. It was just like, hey, try this. I was like, why? He's like, it's minty. I was like,
so's Listerine, but I don't swallow that.
Yeah, and I like put a drop on my tongue, and I, for the next 20 minutes, like wanted to cry because of the like concentration of mint and burning and just like, I hate it.
It's so fresh.
Dude, it was terrible. It was so absolutely fresh. Terrible.
I could breathe a blizzard.
No, not that kind of minty. Just straight up like burning, like cleaning the soul off my tongue. Oh,
so it's like when you turn cinnamon up to 10.
11.
Oh.
I don't know why I did it. John, I'm convinced he's one of my soulmates. There's just something about him. There's just like, try this. Well, John said so. I don't know. Anyways, we go to a session. Everyone's kind of like going hard, and at the same time, we're all kind of struggling because of that previous night. But this is an alright session. And then we started planning for a party. I don't remember if it's that night or like a couple nights later or whatever. Where we're gonna have a keg and a few people were gonna come and we were gonna trick, and maybe that was the night that we were doing the tricks. I don't know. Doesn't matter. People were gonna show up. We were gonna hang out. It's gonna be like a party kind of thing. And we went from like 20, 30 trickers to over 100 people at this house. Some local got invited.
So give me the timeline for how that escalated. So you guys are hanging out, tricking in a barn. It's probably hot as shit during the middle of the day. Because isn't it summer?
No, it was summer, but this is like 6 or 7 at night.
Okay, but so it's like you guys have been hanging out in the barn, and so it's like 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then suddenly
some girls roll up because someone got invited.
How many people? Like 3, 4 at first?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 to 10 start kind of trickling in, and you're like, all right, I mean, whatever. And we're tricking, and people start like upping the ante because there are people watching, which is how it works. And because I don't care about these people coming in. I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm just like hanging out with my friends tricking. And because they're starting to go harder, I'm like, all right, so this is I guess this is how we're going to play.
Oh, if this is what we're doing, I guess this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better in comparison to earlier today. And then it kind of, I don't know, like an hour went by. And I walked outside and walked to the other house and like went to go get something from one of my bags and realized that there were like plus 50 people now.
Okay, so there's a bunch
I don't know,
random people, at
Locals.
Towel's parents' house, which Towel's parents are pastors, right? Both of them? One of them?
One of them at least. They were out of town for something.
Okay.
But I remember going and like moving my bag because I was like, I'm not comfortable with the amount of people that are here, just roaming this house. So I ended up hiding my bag somewhere, and I was like, all right, well, that makes me feel a little bit better. And it was like someone got invited, and then they invited somebody, and then that person invited 2 people, and then those 2 people invited 2 people, and then those 4 people invited that whole pay it forward kind of thing, but with invitations. There's too many.
So by like 9-10 o'clock, there's like 100 people.
That's what it felt like. My numbers could be way off, but that's what it felt like. There were people everywhere. And then everyone's chilling, and lights light the house up. Not like Christmas lights, like red and blue flashing lights.
Kind of felt like Christmas.
It was not. Light the house up, and Towels was like, I don't care who you are, if you're underage, get the fuck out of here. Trying to cover and make sure. Part of me wants to say he's looking out for people. The other part of me is saying he's covering his own ass, which I totally understand both parts. Ain't nobody mad about it.
I think you could win-win in that situation.
Mm-hmm. If you get it, but especially with the amount of open land behind the house that you can just dip set and haul ass through. So that's what we all did.
So you're in the middle of a trick session.
No, at this point, everyone's kind of winding down. Like, not winding down for the night, but everyone's like starting to socialize. And not just trick.
So it's converted into just a party, and people are just hanging out, music, drinking. And then all of a sudden, there's lights, and then there's like cockroaches. There's a scattering.
Okay. That's a perfect example. Cockroaches scattering.
Okay. So the lights hit the cockroaches, they scatter, and a bunch of people run out the back of the barn.
We all start sprinting, and
how many people went out the windows? Like what was it? Was it like a mass exodus, or was it like an orderly sort of like, all right, you fucking run this way? Because like when I
honestly,
picture
if I remember correctly,
I just picture people like jumping out the second story of the barn, hitting the ground, rolling with a run.
If I remember correctly, it was pretty orderly, like controlled chaos of everyone, like hive mind almost. Everyone knew what they needed to do and where they needed to go, but don't kill somebody in the process. Which was.
So did they hit the house first or the barn, or like both together?
I'll get there.
Okay.
So we all scatter. We end up in groups of like 6 to 8 people, all of us in a different location. My group went all the way back through the field the entire way around this lip of the woods and hid there. Break eyesight, break light sight. Flashlight shouldn't be able to cut all the way through us because we're behind trees, and that's like as a group, we're making this decision. I was like, no, we have to get around. We can't just stay here because if they have a strong enough flashlight, when I'm panicking, so I'm imagining fucking like a laser beam of a flashlight, then they're going to be able to spot us and we're going to be fucked anyways. So we're hiding and trying to gather information because we can't see anything. We have no idea what's going on back at the house. And I shoot a text to someone whose number I had. They also weren't able to see. So they shoot a text to someone's number they had. And then they were like, yeah, no, they're with this person, this person. It's okay, I have their number. I'll shoot them a text. Or someone else in my group had their number. Like somehow every group had someone else's number and we were able to communicate and gather like what the hell's going on. Someone said they had dogs searching the place at one point, which made me even more nervous because we just ran through a pea field with zero anything breaking our scent trail. And I was like, well, we're fucked. If they're actual dogs, guys, there's no way we're getting out of this. That dog's going to walk straight down the field and around the corner and go, hey, guys. Like, there's no way. But we're going to hope that they're seeing something wrong. And we wait like an hour. The cops finally leave. I guess it was an hour. Felt like an hour.
Probably 2 minutes.
Could have very well been, because I was panicking because I'm not trying to go to jail. Like, that's not the goal.
It's not on your list today.
Or any day. But we finally get the cops are gone. And we get back and we find out that they didn't come to the house. Apparently, this is what I was told, and this is also 10 years ago, so memory's foggy on things. Apparently, some dude got pulled over in front of the house because he was driving and hotboxing his car. And the cops pulled him over right in front of the house, which is why the lights lit the house up. Which is why everyone scattered. And it had nothing to do with the house at all.
So you're telling me that all of this could have been potentially avoided if people didn't panic?
Yes. Potentially.
Fucking A.
And I don't know if the dude was related to the house or if he was just some guy driving by. I don't know. If he was unrelated, then yes, absolutely. All of this could have been avoided if no one moved.
See, I thought that there was like a noise complaint or something. Like you guys
Not that I'm aware of.
Or
not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so back to the field. You're piecing the story together.
So everyone comes back to the house. We get the all clear. And if there were dogs, the dogs were sniffing the car and not searching the house, from my understanding. But keep in mind, I'm like what feels like a mile away from the house. And we get back, and I'm like adrenaline sober, where my adrenaline has completely overridden everything that could be going on, and it's just like, nope, you're good now.
You're like, I was drunk, but I could do math.
Yeah, I don't like math. But like, we get back, I sit down. I was like, all right, I had a Gatorade bottle or something I was just drinking beer out of because there was the keg. And I was like, all right, I'm going to fill this up. I'm going to have this last beer. I'm going to bed. Like, nightcap, wash this off. Like, cleanse myself from everything that just happened. De-stress. I'm going to bed. Fuck this, I'm out. A sip into it. And I don't mean like I was trying to drink it quickly. I mean, I was like de-stressing. So like 5-10 minutes after I got it. Like a sip or two into it. There's like a flashlight through the glass door of the barn, which is like the door, like sliding glass door. And I looked over and I went, I swear to God, if that's someone's phone, I'm going to be so angry because now is not the time. And then there's a knock on the door. And I was like, I'm going to hurt somebody. Like, empty threats, but like, I'm going to cut somebody. Like, dude, not funny, not the time. I don't even want this beer anymore. I'm going to bed. Like, and then the door opens up and it was like, mind if I come in?
Yes, actually we do.
And Towels goes, I would prefer if you didn't. And I was like, this is going to go one of two ways. This is going to go like really well in our favor, or this is going to become a shit show real fast. And the cop's like, whose house is this? And Towels stands up. I was like, it's my parents' and mine, whatever. You know, I've since moved myself away from the beer that I was previously attached to. And I'm now sitting next to some people that I met. And that's not mine, officer. I don't know what you're talking about. But they start talking about things and like looking around the room because they don't have permission to enter yet. So they're like doing that. They're looking around the room. They clearly see the keg. They're like, what's in the keg? And
water.
I genuinely cannot remember. So if someone can remember or call me out or just like confirm this, I want to say Towel said it was apple juice.
There's a couple of things. You told this story so many times that I've heard it. There's a couple of things that Towel says to these cops that I remember being just grade A.
Grade A, I'm going to go to jail material. That's how I felt.
Or the cop has a sense of humor and it works.
We learned real quick he didn't. If Towels actually did say it was apple juice, the cop was like, sure, moved on. Kind of didn't acknowledge it, whatever. And he's like, so you guys can't be here. You guys can't have this. And he's like, you don't want to. Towels is like, all right, you don't want to do this. And the guy's already like called for backup or something like that. He's like, you don't want to do this. And the cop was like, you're right, I don't. And I was like,
then don't.
saw the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. And then that light immediately got shattered by a butt that I didn't consider coming. He's like, yeah, you're right, I don't. But I took an oath under the Indiana state law to uphold the law in any situation. I was just like, my head sank, my heart dropped. I know I'm fucked because I was 20 and a half, like almost 21. Like, can you like misread my license for like 6 months, please?
Like, do your math wrong real quick.
Yeah, just let me have it. But as soon as he said that whole spiel about upholding the law, Towels turns around and goes, "This is why firefighters are better." And I was like, "Oh, man, yep, that's the one. That's the one. That one sealed the coffin right there." Great. So, God, I'm remembering more and more of this the longer I talk about it. So they end up breathalyzing every single person in the barn, which is now down to roughly the number we started at.
Like 30-ish.
Yeah. Plus a few extra locals that stayed because actually, like, I made friends with 2 girls. There's a guy or somebody that we made friends with. Kevin, pantsless Kevin. That'll come up later. And they breathalyzed every single person. Mumra blew a .001, .002.
It was barely.
It was
anything.
something. So, and the reason, and so he threw a fit about it. I remember the reason.
The story. Oh my God.
He threw a fit about it, which I completely supported. I'm not not saying anything bad, but like he was like, "That's like getting an A- on a test that you know you aced because you spelled your name wrong." I was like, I mean,
or the teacher didn't like your shirt.
Yeah. He like that's like getting a 99 because you spelled your name wrong, or the teacher doesn't like your shirt or something like that. Yeah. I was like, dude, just sit. You're gonna end up with the rest of us. Just sit down. Like, let it go. I'm with you. I understand. Just please don't make this.
But I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I didn't even.
So what it was.
I wasn't even having fun.
Yeah. No, he didn't drink anything. Not like the entire weekend. I will attest to that. So if his parents come across this, then he was completely sober the entire weekend. What had happened was the person before him was like, "Smell my breath. Does it smell like beer?" And they had drank a lot. And then Mumra went and had a mild lingering of previous person's breath or something along those lines. Like some alcohol vapors or however they fucking test it.
I just picture him just like trying to rationalize. Listen, officer, seriously.
I would have stood up and batted for him. I'm like, no, I promise. Like, give him 5 minutes and let him do it again. Let him go swish his mouth out with water and let him do it again. Like, homie is completely fine. I blew like an 0.95, so like,
you done did it.
Enough. But it was one of those things where I was like, hey, so close. They arrested 15 of us, I think.
Yourself included.
Yeah, that's why I said us. I don't like that part. Ignore this if you know me and have not heard this. Stop now.
Oh, Rudy, you think this is the only criminal story you're going to be telling on this podcast?
The other one doesn't bother me. The other one is me just being an idiot and forgetting to do something.
I'm sure there's more, but it's just they're in gray areas.
Probably. I want to say 15 of us. Because it was... One guy he had boxers on, didn't have pants on, because he like just went to bed and they woke him up.
Pantsless Kevin.
And they didn't let him put pants on. He asked to. They're like, no. So he literally drunk tank, all that jazz, no pants. Hence the name Pantsless Kevin. So Kevin, John, Ben, me, the 2 girls we met. another kid who I cannot remember. So if they arrested 15 of us, and the 7 of us went to the drunk tank, the other, 8? Went straight to juvie because they weren't even 18 yet. And they, their parents had to pick them up or get called, and they couldn't be processed because they're not 18 yet, but they went straight to juvie. And I was like,
they're having a bad time.
Damn, guys. All right. I mean, you live your life, but you should probably consider a few things a little different. But I have no place to judge.
You were also in the cell.
That's why I said I have no place to judge. No, they went to a completely separate location, and the girls got put in a different room because you can't co-ed, whatever. So they have everyone lined up. Someone asked if they could pee before they took us in the vans and all that jazz. And they're like, does anyone else have to pee? And every single guy was like, you know what, fuck it, might as well. It's like that thing when your parents tell you, go now before we leave because we're not stopping on the way.
It might be a while.
Yeah. So pretty much every guy was like, you know what? So they lined us all up facing the field. And I think at this point they had a dog in the car. And I didn't see it. But the comment the cop made me pretty confident there was a dog around. So we're all lining up, and one of them was like, one of the cops was like, I mean, you can run if you want. You're not going to get away.
Old Yeller is fast.
Yeah, something along the lines of, if you want to run, you can try, but you're not going to. And I had the thought, and I want to say every other guy also had the thought of all right, we started doing math.
Who's the slowest one here, and is he going to go for it?
I'm pretty sure I can outrun him. If I can outrun him, that means I can probably outrun this one. If I can match at least this one, then that gives me a fair chance. When I got
They've only got one dog.
I've got 2 of them behind me. If they only have one dog, then okay, but that's just saying if one of us moves, do we all move? Or if I start running, that doesn't guarantee that calculations were happening. No one moved because we were all no, that's a terrible idea. I'm gonna make it worse if I try to do anything. But they take us all in. Girls go in one room, guys go in another room with some guy that had already been there. I don't remember his name. We played a game. I didn't. They played a game called Get Close to... I almost had it. Basically, they just tried to... He's asleep. He's out in drunk tank, too. They were just trying to get as close as they possibly could to this guy without waking him up.
I do remember parts of this.
One of the guys basically sat on him. Didn't, but was close enough to be uncomfortably close. They let everyone make phone calls to try and organize and get to make connections or whatever. And everyone is able to find someone's wallet or everyone else's wallet. John, no one could find John's. They got lost in the thing, so he got left in the longest.
Wasn't it an extra 12 or 15 hours or something like that? A whole...
It was a minute. It was a minute. So I didn't get out until 9 or 10 the next morning.
Yeah, but you didn't get out until that night,
6, right? Late afternoon, I think. And it wasn't this all happened at 4 in the morning. So it wasn't a long time. It was long enough. John did a Webster.
In the cell?
In the drunk tank. And immediately, I don't know if the cop was watching a camera or if caught out of the corner of his eye, whoever was working the front desk that was kind of monitoring us was not keen on their night shift.
Oh fuck, we got a ninja.
John did it, landed it, and I swear to God, I've heard some quiet Websters. I've done some quiet Websters. I do not remember a sound happening when he did the Webster. And within a second, the cop whips around. I was like, sit your ass down or I'll chain your ass to the bench. And John just sits down and looks at him and is sorry. And then John looks at me and goes, Rudy, do a cork. And I was like, no, are you kidding me? No.
Were you not listening?
Yeah. I was like, no, this is the one time you will not get me to do something. Like,
It's like normally, yes. Right now,
No.
not so much.
yeah. They ended up getting everyone out. John made phone calls on his cell phone. So real quick, tell me how you in jail.
How'd you get the cell phone in?
It was one of his personal possessions that they took away from everyone. All of our jewelry, all of our personal possessions they took. Put it in a bag, get it back if you get out, when you get out. John was like, yeah, I don't know anyone's number, but I have it in my phone. And they're like, okay, sure. Meanwhile, keep in mind, this is a bedazzled cell phone. It's a folding, I want to say it was a folding bedazzled cell phone.
It's 2010.
It's also John Vanning. But so he's literally just on his cell phone talking to people. He's like, you look here, look here, look here, look here. And I didn't use a phone call because I was like, I'm going to save mine in case whatever. John and whoever makes phone calls, tell them to look here for my stuff. Get my stuff. Do what you need to do. It should be here, here, and here. So if I don't have to use one and someone else, we have to call someone else again. I'm basing it off the like you get one phone call rule. Whether that's an actual rule thing. I don't know.
I saw it in a movie once. I'm going to go with it.
I've never been in this situation. I'm not trying to overuse some things, you know? So everyone is slowly getting out because they're able to pay bail, which was like $50 or something. I don't remember. It wasn't too much, but it was an annoying amount.
You're like, I'm broke. I have no money. I have no job.
They also wouldn't let us use the money in our wallet. One of us had the money to be able to get out from our wallet, but they're like, no, that's contraband or whatever the word is. So that we can't use it until we're out, but we can't get out because we can't use it. So we had to use someone else's money. It was one of those like, but I have the money right there. I can see
like,
it.
Listen, this extortion could go faster if you just took it from here. And they're like, nah, third-party extortion is the only way legal.
Yeah, it was like, I can see it. It's
like,
right there.
If we extort it directly from you, then we could be prosecuted as stealing your possessions.
Yep.
But so we're gonna, wow, that's hilarious and fucked.
Yep. One of the kids, he's like 19, I guess. Maybe 18 and a half. I don't know. He was drunk enough to sleep the whole time. Like, just in the tank, just posted up.
He went down and went, I'm going to sleep until I feel good enough to face my dad. I might be asleep until I'm 24.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. So he's asleep the whole time. We completely understand because, like, what else are we going to do? It's like 4 and plus and pushing 6 in the morning. They bring us breakfast, like 6:37. It was like Fruity Pebbles and Tang and...
Are you sure it wasn't 90s? Like, this was 2010.
No,
they brought you
straight
Tang?
up Tang. Yeah.
It wasn't 95?
Pretty sure it was Tang, yeah. But so he wakes up, and they've since changed
Is the Midwest
shifts.
15 years behind the rest of the country?
Yeah, they say pop.
Pop is fine, but Tang hasn't been around since the 90s.
It's a wasteland.
Okay, anyways, continue.
But so the kid finally wakes up. I just, for the love of him, I can't remember his name. And they've changed shifts, so there's new people working, and they also are not happy about their jobs. I don't know if anyone is happy about their jobs in Indiana. But so she like pokes her head in and sees that he's finally awake. We've all done the whole like looking whatever shenanigans you have to do,
The
like
fingerprints,
yeah,
and they
the
check
picture,
your butthole
yeah.
and all those things.
Well, I luckily avoided that one. Towels, I'm not so sure.
You were just allowed to bring whatever was in your butt.
Kept it. So he finally wakes up, and the female police officer, security guard, I don't know. She's allowed to be there. She like pokes her head and is like, "Look who's finally awake." And,
talking to the kid?
Yeah, and he's bitter. She made some sort of smarky comment, remark, or whatever, and he just stands up and goes, "Fucking cunt." Like, everyone in the room heard it. It's not a huge room, keep in mind. But everyone in the room heard it, and the door's open, and she's standing right there. And I was like, "Oh, he's never coming back." And he like did his thing, came back, sat back down. She made some other remark, said the same shit again. I was like, like that like awkward smile and like darting eyes looking between the two of them. I'm like, is he about to get taken out back and shot dead? Like, dude, it was her patience. I was like, I'll allow it. Like, the fact that you didn't just drag him out of here and then throw him back in here for your smart ass remark and then his just straight up comeback. I was like, either she's done this for a while or she's not awake enough to care. But everyone gets out except Howells and John. And the group of people orchestrating getting everyone out made the call, unbeknownst to us, that if we can't get everyone out, we're going to leave 2 people in so there's at least 2 people together. So they don't go stir crazy and they're not alone. Valid fucking thought process. I commend whoever's idea that was. Well done. Except you didn't account for who was still left. Howells and John. Some cop.
That's the dream team. Like, not if you want to not go to jail, but like, that's the dream. Like,
don't get me
that
wrong.
Cops episode for fucking sure.
Don't get me wrong. I love them. At this point in time, though, the 2 of them together were like Tim Farley in the U.S. 5 years ago.
Which is another story that we'll get to.
A mortar firework went off in a parking lot on the ground. I'll leave it at that. Anyways.
Not to mention traversing a moving vehicle at 70 plus.
I totally forget about that.
We'll get to that. Back to the
sorry.
MG0Jail.
So anyway, they get everyone out. Howells and John are left. Some cop makes some sort of remark. Howells disagrees. We had these foam flip-flop sandal things because they took our shoes away from us. Howells takes it off, throws it at the glass door because we're basically in a fishbowl so they can monitor us. Throws it at the window next to the door as the cop leaves. She immediately turns around. This is what I've been told. I wasn't there. Immediately turns around, grabs him, drags him to the back. They delouse him, which so you get sprayed down because you have to. So you want to keep your cells clean and all that stuff. I want to say he got stripped and strip searched, and then he got a room with a bed, a roommate, and got to watch Transformers. He got an upgrade for almost assaulting a police officer.
Well, he was downgraded into the upgrade. He got deloused.
I mean, that's fair. This is what I was told. I don't know if that's actually what happened. If you want to correct me, feel free to. I don't know. But yeah, so you end up getting to watch Transformers. Meanwhile, John is in
also, if anybody else wants to come on and tell their version of events from this particular gathering,
I could be misremembering a whole lot. I could be misremembering a whole lot. So if you have a better version or if you have a different version, yes, please reach out. But meanwhile, so Howells has a bed and is able to watch Transformers, and meanwhile John is still in his concrete fishbowl.
You know which one?
Two? Sure. That one. Someone look up when that was released and tell me if I'm remotely like meanwhile, I'm out now having an existential crisis because I have to tell my parents that I have to go to court.
And you just went to jail.
And I just went to jail. I haven't slept in yes. So I'm
Is that a measurement of time?
Yeah. just like a parsec.
That's a measurement of distance, though.
No, but I finished it in 12 parsecs.
Yeah, but that's distance.
Exactly. So, not to mention, I mean, I didn't get trashed the night before, but not to mention, I've pretty much worked through my hangover / being sober. Like, didn't really have a hangover because of my adrenaline. The crisis.
You've been sober for 6 hours, even though
the crisis unfolding in front of me. Yeah. So I called my roommate and was like, "Hey,
college roommate
Shane." I was like, "Hey, how are you?" He was like, "Well, I don't know if I'll be coming back to school." And I was like, "Oh, you too?" He's like, "Wait, what?" So he got fucked over because
I love Shane.
Yeah. he got fucked over and might have been going to jail. Something about his tags being fraudulent, but there was a misunderstanding between like updating the tags and changing the tags. Or either way, he got hit with a hefty charge. Not his fault.
But didn't he probably get out of it because that's Shane? He's like he's the Houdini of charges. Like he gets them, but
he's also
he really?
He also gets pulled over at this point in time all the time for speeding.
He's a black man in America.
He's a black man in America. Anyways, so he explained his situation, and then I explained my situation, and he's like, so what does this mean? I was like, all right, so basically, we don't know. Because I gotta go to court, and we've looked up and we've done our own research, and like it's just not helping. It's making it worse because we're panicking now because we've looked into it, and the internet is a terrible place to look when you're panicking. I have chest pain, WebMD, chest pain, you have lung cancer.
No, you died yesterday. Yeah. You check WebMD. I'm a walking miracle.
Yeah. So it basically was like a week, like $500, $1,000 fine, or like an all right fine and like 3 months. And I don't have that option. I don't have any of those options. I need this to not count. But so I ended up calling my dad afterwards. Shane asked me if I'd call my parents. Like, no, I called you first. I didn't want to tell them first. I need to tell someone else and kind of
walk through. Right now, you are my dad. What do I do?
Yeah, I needed to walk through the conversation with someone else without being afraid I was going to get murdered when I got home. So I call my dad.
Which, mind you, both of Rudy's parents are pastors.
And they're wonderful people. It's just, at this instance, I have fucked up beyond all belief.
And what, like the second or third time in like under a year and a half or something like that?
The second time like in a year to the date of court. Because I remembered in court, I did the math. I'll get there. So I told Shane, was like, have you talked to your dad? I was like, no. Why? No. I need to have a conversation with someone that's not going to immediately kill me. And then I call my dad, and he's like, all right, weird calm. Walked through the entire thing, asked me some questions, got some information. When is this happening? When is this happening? How is this happening? Okay. Have you talked to your mother? No. Do not call her. I was like, yes, sir. And I don't, like, I have manners, but I don't like yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, my parents.
But in this situation...
Unless...
You done fucked up?
I done fucked up. Yeah, just, yes, sir, got it. So he tells my mom, neither of them are happy with me.
Naturally.
Yes. I call Mama's
underage
dad.
Drinking, even if it was by like 5.5 months.
I'm pretty confident at this point they knew, and they were mad that I
got caught.
Put myself in a situation. Like, I don't remember when I actually told them I started drinking, but I'm pretty sure at this point I'd had that conversation.
It's not like you were an alcoholic.
No.
You're a college kid.
Yeah, and even then it wasn't like a bender every weekend. It was just like, no, I'm going to go out and have for drinks with friends and at certain weekends.
Our definitions of benders are different. I used to come up and hang out with you on the weekends.
Now, so when I think of benders, I think of you don't remember the entirety of the weekend.
Okay, so just the pineapple juice situation.
Don't like that. There's a no-go for me. So I hang up the phone with him. I was like, okay, that's not that bad. But at the back of my head, I realized that it's like when the main character of an anime goes from being real ragey and like, I can't believe you've done this, to real settled. And just like, no, that's fine. I understand. It's whatever. And then they pop off and hit a whole new level of what you've never seen before. I realized that with my dad about midway through the conversation.
You're like, oh, he's calm. Oh, this is a hurricane.
Cat 7.
Yeah, I'm just in the middle of it. I haven't hit the leading edge yet.
No, it's the calm before the storm.
Oh yeah.
Not the middle. The calm before the storm. Everything goes silent, and then you're fucked.
Yep. And then you realize that the sunset in the distance is actually your impending doom. Anyways, court was in like 3 days. We've done kind of our math. We realized like this is a potential real bad situation. I'd called Mamra's dad. Just straight up to like talk to him and be like, this is the situation that's going on. This is what's going on. We're a little bit delayed coming back because I fucked up. He's done nothing. If you're going to be mad at somebody, please be mad at me. Like, he literally is completely innocent in this situation. He's just trapped up for the ride. Like, not along for the ride, trapped for the ride because he's my ride home. Saying I get to go home. We'll find out in a couple days. And he like...
Right, because didn't they tell you not to leave the state?
Yeah, but we did that.
Well, you had plans for, like, you had school Monday, right? Weren't you in college?
No. This was in July.
Oh, right. Okay.
I had work.
Okay, so you did have a commitment.
I had a thing I needed to do at some point. I was like, we might be...
in Virginia. Meanwhile, you're in...
Indiana, 9 some odd hours away. But he was understanding, disappointed, but understanding and appreciated that I called him and like, hey, by the way, this isn't your son calling you to let you know that, yeah, the people I'm with screwed up. This is me just straight up owning up and be like,
your son's a good kid.
Please let me continue to hang out with your son because I like this kid.
He's a good kid. I'm not a bad influence.
I promise I'm not a bad influence. This is a twice in a life situation. Court happens. We're sitting there. It's all of us that were there, minus the ones that went to juvie because juvie can't process them for this, I guess. There are other people that are there for like, this is your 3rd DUI in the last 2 months. And I'm like, homie, what are you doing? Like, and these are not our party, if you will. This is like other people. And I'm just like, all right, well, he just got sent to jail and his license revoked for a while. He just got sent to jail because this is his 3rd, like, drunk in public. I'm like, is this what we do in Indiana? Like, what? And then they start calling members of our group up. And about the 3rd or 4th one in, I realized it was alphabetical, the last name. And all of these people have prior charges.
In your group?
In our group. But these are not trickers. These are the locals that we
gotcha.
I don't know if it was alcohol related or if it's like underage something or like I don't remember what their prior whatever was.
This isn't like Akron, right? Or no?
No, that's Ohio. And that's why we actually went to Akron because John needed a form of ID and his passport was there and we weren't supposed to leave the state. Yes, but we went there, stayed a night there, and then drove back and just really hoped that.
Okay.
And then
so it's just some small ass town in Indiana.
Yeah, and we passed a lighter, like one of the car lighters, right? The little button pushy circular car lighters from one car to the next because someone wanted to smoke in the car. But we're doing like 70 down the highway, so we just got super close and just handed it off, like on the road. So we needed to not get in trouble, and we didn't really try to not get in trouble, is what I'm getting at. Anyways, court happens. I'm sitting there. I've realized it's in alphabetical order. I've got like 2 people in front of me. And then I realize it's for prior charges. And I remember the prior charge. The concealed weapon charge. Which got dismissed over time, blah, blah, blah.
That'll be a whole different episode.
Yeah, it got dropped. Spoiler. But had to stay out of trouble and I had to stay out of trouble for 6 months to a year. That was the time frame they gave me. I have now realized
it was 354 days.
It was to the day 1 year. And I was like, how picky are they going to get? Like, there's no way that this can line up and this can be a factor. And if it is, why? You have so many better things to do than go 6 months to a year, bitch, get in jail. Like,
I'm just a dumb kid.
Yeah, for real. That was straight up, yeah. But then they get to like one person in front of me and I'm like starting to sweat. I'm like, I don't.
You're like, is this my last moments of freedom?
I'm going to have to make a phone call. I'm going to make 2 phone calls. One of my parents. And then I'm going to have to go into hiding because there's no way I can go back home after this. And then 2 to Mumra's dad and be like, look, he's driving home by himself. I fucked up. They get to the person in front of me. They dismiss everyone out of the room except for us. And the judge kind of stands up and looks at us and goes, all right. So here's the thing. I can make a case out of this. I can like kind of this spiel of like, I can make this what it could be.
You could become a poster child tonight.
Yeah, I can make an example out of you. But he was like, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a pre-trial diversion contract. I was like, I don't know what the hell any of that means.
Like in English?
Does that mean I go home? He's like, what it means is once you sign this contract, you guys may leave. Go about whatever. If you need to leave the state, I was just like, I don't live here.
Like, yeah, that definitely needs to happen.
So like that, yay, nay, like I don't have to stay here. Like, no, you can go home. You can do whatever you need to do. You can whatever. You need to make sure that you pay this fee for the contract. You have to pay a monthly fee for a year, or you can pay it all in advance. You have to read and write a book report on teen alcoholism, which I was like, okay, it seems silly, but, and then stay out of trouble for 6 months to a year kind of thing. I want to say there was one other thing, but it was one of those like, out of all of the things, aside from a slap on the wrist, this is a slap on the wrist. Like, aside from a literal slap on the wrist, this is a slap on the wrist. But like, managed to like do all that. I didn't even read a book. I read the back part of it in like the first chapter, and I was like, I can do this. And they were like, I had been emailing back and forth with somebody because I was trying to make sure I wasn't going to screw it up in whatever way I needed to. And she was like, yeah, well, if they don't like your draft, they'll just send it back until you do another one. I was like, so if I just write, if you could just like it, it's good. She's like, yeah. It's like, who's grading it? Like, this isn't like an English class. Like, what? Who's reading this paper?
Like, it's Susan. She comes in on Thursday. She reads our papers.
Basically, they wanted, from my understanding of it, they wanted me to write the paper on the book that I didn't read and put my own understanding of like, yes, this is bad. I shouldn't have done this. This is bad. These are causes and what it can lead to. And I'm not a teen, so I don't really see how this pertains to me. But sure, I'll jump through the hoops to get this to go away because that's what you gotta do. And like, it's just a terrible, terrible, terrible time. It ended well. Like, that's no longer a part of anything. But just the whole situation.
I hope not. It's fucking 10 years ago.
Well, but even after like, it was like 6 months to a year or whatever, even after that, it was just gone. Just like it never happened, minus the whole trauma and torment and the emotional scarring on my soul.
Just as an addendum to this story, do you remember that time that I think it was you, me, and Hunter? I can't remember if anyone else was there. Maybe Corey. But we were in the church parking. Yep, and we were in the church parking lot, like not 5 minutes from your house, like walking.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking like you could legitimately kick a soccer ball
and definitely make it to this property.
Oh, yeah.
And
if the ball rolled down the hill and just went across,
exactly.
Yeah, easy.
And so we were there, and it wasn't even that late. It was like maybe 10, 15. Yeah, something like that. And it was just the closest place that had lights and flat grass.
Yeah.
And so we were out there, and we were just doing some basic tricks, like nothing fancy, just like having a good time. It wasn't Corey. It was Kyle. It was me, you, Hunter, and Kyle. Yes. Kyle Budo. And we were hanging out and just like doing some tricks. And then all of a sudden we see these lights pull up in the parking lot, and fucking the hot beam, comes straight at us.
I don't remember if this is before or after, but either way. No,
this was definitely after, because I remember we're standing there, and I also had a bullshit charge from when I was a kid and did some dumb shit.
We're good people, I promise.
I was almost 18, or I had just turned 18. I think I had just turned 18. Yeah, I want to say it was a couple months after my birthday. So I'm thinking to myself that got expunged and disappeared, because they came over and we were talking to him and just sort of telling him this is what we're doing. We're just honestly just doing flips. We weren't trying to harm anything.
He had to explain what tricking was and why it's not what it is.
And oh my God, do you remember what the cop said? He immediately, when we were so we're just doing this thing, it's called tricking, and he
back in my day, tricking was a different thing.
He tilted his head and he was back in my day, tricking meant a whole different thing. You're gonna need to explain that. It's so basically just flips on the ground and these kicks, and I think one of you, either you or Kyle, were we could show you, and he was no, don't do that. And we were no, we're
not moving.
Hands up, we're not trying to do anything. We were just here trying to enjoy this flat area
because the sun's down and we got the urge.
Yeah,
no, he
but he asked us, remember, he was do you guys have any prior charges or anything that
impending warrants or whatever, and everyone was no, and then they took our IDs.
Rudy and I looked at each other and we're I think we're good, right? Because I had my thing from when I was 13 or 14 that they told me if I didn't get in trouble by the time I was 18, it was just going to disappear.
Yeah.
And then Rudy was I'm pretty sure my trouble that I got, because I think this was late 2011, maybe 2012, so it was over a year and a half past your no trouble date, and you were clear of that. So we both answered no, we're fine, we don't have any warrants. And then as soon as the cop walked back to his car, we looked at each other, we were
we're gonna find out.
I wonder if they're gonna find this and that.
They're about to run our IDs and run our information, and they're about to come back to us and be hey, are you aware that you have this? And are you aware that you have this? And we're gonna go, I thought that was gone. All right, do you want me to lay down? Do you want me to bend over?
What do I do?
Hands on my head, sir, yes, sir. What do I do? But it came back.
Yeah, at that
point they came back and all right, well, you guys can't be here. Blah, 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 private property, whatever. You're not trespassing, but still you can't be here. I'm all right, we'll leave. I live right there. And then as we walked away, both of us went, so I guess I'm good? I guess we're clear? I mean, I don't want to try it and find out, but I guess we're good.
What's hilarious too is that was actually the second time I was trespassed from that church property. But the first time was because I may or may not have parked there with a girlfriend at the time, and they don't like anybody on their property.
No, they really don't. That church is real.
Yeah. So
I've been chased off there many times for using their lawn and stuff like that.
Yeah. After that time, we didn't go back there, but yeah, the cop was at least nice about it.
Yeah, super chill guy. We were just panicky because of previous dumbassery.
We're I'm balancing on this border of did I get in trouble or did it disappear yet?
So listen, it's a year to the day. Oh man. Is
there anything else you want to add about the OMG jail story? You covered the
don't tell
fact that you fucking hit
Don't tell police that are going to arrest you. Firefighters are better. It doesn't help your chances.
And don't throw flip-flop at the glass.
No, just work with them. Everything's easier if you just work with them. They might even let you go if you're just helpful. Like, oh, dude. The timeline you mentioned of the being at the church reminded me, because you said if it was 2011.
It was like late 2011, maybe early 2012.
Because my dad, for Christmas in 2010, my dad asked, this was the only thing he wanted from me, was a quiet 2011. That's all he asked for. So if it was 2011, I was trying. Did you remember the other thing that happened in 2010?
No, I remembered the thing that happened in 2012 with all the cops at the fucking...
Oh my god, in Florida?
No. Well, that one too. That's another... That one's tricking related. No, I remember...
And it wasn't our fault that time.
It wasn't our fault the other time either, when the girl and...
Oh my god, yeah!
So, what I'm saying is you have many more episodes of TorqueTalks StoryTime to look forward to, and we are very excited to bring them to you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Leave a like and definitely a share if you enjoyed this. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.